Wuthering Waves 2.6 dropped the other day, and I did the story live on stream from start to finish. And I have a lot of positive things to say about the 2.6 story part 1. We're going to get into the spoilers and what happened in the story. We're going to talk a bit about that. So here's your warning, there are going to be spoilers in this video. So let's get into it. 2.6 for me is a phenomenal patch update with the story. I am very excited to get into the second half of 2.6 in 2 weeks or so. But let's get into why I think this way and all the fantastic things from the story, the character interactions, the area itself, the boss fight, and the music. I think the music in this patch is some of the best they've introduced up to this point in Wuthering Waves. The boss fight music and the music that just plays towards the end and the area themes are just phenomenal. I do have to mention this. There is a scene with Rover and Abby, but I'm going to put it up here now, that had me giggling quite a bit because it was extremely funny. The first thing I wanted to bring up in this video about 2.6 is the area that was given to us, the plateau. I think it is rivals Septimont in how it looks, because it feels like to me that it was inspired by Monster Hunter. I love the combination of like beautiful grass, all the things floating above on the top of the map, just the trees and all that. And then down below it's super dark with the dark tide spreading everywhere. I love the two different themes on top of each other. It makes the area so unique because Raguna is all super bright besides the top area where it's all dead. But the majority of Raguna is just green and blue and just light colors. But the plateau is just, it's just different from what we've got so far, and I enjoy it so much. Flying around it and exploring it has been some of the most fun I've had exploring into the 2.0 areas, in my honest opinion. I really do like the design of the new area. The character interactions in 2.6 are phenomenal. The interactions between Rover, iuno, Augusta, iuno, and Rover, and all of the individual characters around in 2.6, including the guy that Cristoforo created, are all just fantastic. I loved seeing iuno and Rover interact. It reminded me of when Lupa and Rover interacted, and that's some of my favorite character interactions with Rover was between Lupa and Rover. But seeing all of this was amazing, and then Augusta throughout the entire patch was just aura farming. It was great to see from when she cut off the nose of the blue dinosaur that they were hunting to the false sovereign showing up, whooping everybody's ass the first time. And then just going on from learning about Augusta's backstory, learning about what happened to Angel. I have a theory on who Angel is, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But seeing what happened to Murmur's Town, finding out how Augusta got her sword, seeing that the Dark Tide completely ignored Augusta and favored Angel. So, well, let me go on a quick little tangent about this. I think Angel is Galbriana. That's what I think. And I've seen a lot of other people see that way too. So I think it's going to get revealed that Angel is Galbriana. And that's going to be very weird to see with Augusta figuring that out. But I cannot wait to see that character interaction. That was my little tangent. But I loved the design of Murmur Town. It is beautiful. The way all the destruction, how the Dark Tide took it over. It was also really nice going back in time in the Sonora's field multiple times to see what happened and find the pure sample of the Dark Tide. Actually, we find out that Buling is somehow a member of the Black Shores. I was not aware of that until when I did the story of 2.6. That was odd. But regardless, I love that they included the Black Shores a bit in the 2.6 patch. I like that. I do wish it was Shorekeeper instead, but you know, I'll take what I can get with other people coming from past patches, like the Black Shores still being relevant in the story. I do like that the Black Shores haven't been completely forgotten. But the boss fight was fantastic, the character interactions were fantastic. It's just all of this is blending into a fantastic patch. The music in 2.6 is phenomenal. From Augusta's fight with Rover, and Rover fighting the false sovereign, and the music that plays in the final cutscenes of Augusta beating the false sovereign. It's all fantastic. I love themes or music in games with vocals like the one in Augusta's fight. And let me mention the frantic pace of the false sovereign's theme and the boss fight music part 1 and 2 is just so good. I like how it gets faster, faster, and faster. It's just some of the best music we have gotten in Wuthering Waves. And I really don't see how they're going to make better music, because this is some of the best music we have gotten in Wuthering Waves. And let me just touch on the False Sovereign's boss fight. The False Sovereign's boss fight is the best boss in Wuthering Waves. I think it is the coolest boss. I love fighting him, and the first couple times I got my ass whooped by him. It's just, I really, really do hope to see more bosses like that in the future of Wuthering Waves. For the story of 2.6, you get invited to go on a hunt from Augusta and iuno. So you get invited on this hunt, and then you go to the new area flying on a bunch of griffins, which is a fantastic sequence. Then they show you what we think at first is the big boss of the story, that big dinosaur with the horn. But as we progress through, talking to new characters, talking to iuno, talking about the prophecy that's supposed to happen, and all of that stuff, eventually we learn that the plan is to lure out something else, the big bad of 2.6. So Augusta cuts off and damages the big dinosaur, so that way it lures out the false sovereign to absorb the imperfect being. But they did not expect the false sovereign to be that strong and ruin their plans, so they have to come up with a new plan that involves the Black Shores, going back to Murmur's Town and entering an incomplete sonorosphere to learn about what happened and get a pure Darktide sample, so that way the Black Shores can track the false sovereign, because nobody knows where it went. After that, everybody gears up for one big final battle, and then they fail in that final battle because the sovereign is really strong. And then the Darktide gets unleashed, but it's spreading at a slowish rate, so they have time to stop it. Then that leads to Augusta and Rover and iuno teaming up, or mainly Augusta and Rover teaming up to fight the false sovereign. iuno opens the way for us to do that. But what I think happened when she did that, she faded from existence, and that was the price she had to pay for using that power. That's why it seems like nobody can remember her. And I'm hoping that it is true, because it would be kind of cool that that happened. But after that happens, Augusta and Rover go to this arena to track the false sovereign and fight it. But then Augusta has a secret plan of her own to make Rover the King of Kings, or the Hero of Heroes. And then Augusta and Rover fight to draw out the sovereign and complete the prophecy. Then Augusta gets swallowed by the false sovereign and then breaks out of it after having an emotional moment. And then those two team up to fight the false sovereign. Overall, the entire story quest is a solid 8. Even though we don't have the second part, my only complaint is that the Murmur's Town section was a little slow, but you can't cut out any of that or do anything different with that, because it's all essential to the story. That is why it doesn't take any points away from the score for me of the story, because it's all essential, and I enjoyed learning about what happened to Murmur's Town, what happened to Angel, and all that type of stuff. And my theory is that Angel is Galbriana, or at least that Tacit Discord inside her. If it is a Tacit Discord, or the Darktide inside Galbriana, that's it's Galbriana. Angel is Galbriana, and I that's what I think it is. But overall, the story for 2.6 is phenomenal. I would rate it a solid 8.5 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Yeah, 8 out of 10 because of the slowness that happened about midway through. But I seriously enjoyed this story. It's sitting up there with 2.4 and 2.5 as the grades for Wuthering Waves. So to summarize this video into a short little quick section, the music, the area, and the story of 2.6 is phenomenal. I would rate it an 8.5 out of 10 and 8 out of 10 because everything combined together is just fantastic. It's currently sitting up there with the greats like 2.4, 2.2, and 2.5 because it's just fantastic storytelling that we've gotten. I love that Augusta outshined Rover, and the fact that Rover wasn't thrown to the side like other games do. But overall, I would rate this story or the first half of 2.6 as a solid 8.5, 8 out of 10. And I'm not going to talk about the events in this video because I'm going to make a separate video on the events because Title Defense Simulator is fantastic, so I want to make a dedicated video for that. But overall, I would rate this update a solid 8.5, 8 out of 10. So if you like this video, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm going to keep making more videos, obviously. I've been really lazy about uploading and making this video. It's over the process of like 3 days because I just keep getting lazy and playing Arma. I need to stop doing that. But if you made it this far in the video, I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.